I was having this conversation with this guy. We was talking about reparations, and he was telling me that in order to pay blacks for what whites did to them, it would bankrupt this country. And I said, well, it is what it is. And he was saying, you can't ask whites or this country to do something that's going to bankrupt them. Well, then you shouldn't do the crime then. Because if you parked your car on the road and me walking down the street, instead of me walking past this car, leaving it alone, not bothering it at all, I decide to break into this vehicle. When I'm caught, I have to repair this vehicle back to the original state as if I had never seen it or continue to walk past it. If I stop and damage this vehicle, I'm committed to paying for the damages. The courts don't stop and say, well, he can only afford to pay this much to repair the vehicle. They don't do that. No court would do that. But only when it's coming to whites repairing the damage that they've caused to somebody else. Well, when they caused to blacks. Now all of a sudden there's a cap on what they have to pay. And when I'm listening to this guy rationale trying to minimize the damage or get some reason why we shouldn't get full restitution only up to a certain point, you will never want to pay or repair blacks back to the point where they never saw you. Had you just sailed on past Africa or the United or this country before and just never encountered our people, you can never repair us back to that state. And I'm thinking to myself, where does this mentality come from? What is it, the origin of it? And that brought me to do this video. So right now I want to welcome my family and fellow citizens of the African Order and get into the topic of this video. It is rooted, you know, discussions about race and positions that people take. Where do they come from? White people, whenever they talk about race, it comes from a white perspective and it's rooted in white privilege. They have the ability to be white 1 minute, and then when you kind of box them into a corner, then all of a sudden they change and they're either Italian or Irish or they something, you know, they can do this. But when blacks, from the beginning of the story to now, we're going to always be black. We don't have the ability to change our race midstream. When whites, any white, talk to blacks about race, do not be deceived by the leaves or olive branches of hope because it's rooted in our continued servitude to them. They're going to talk nice and kind up until a certain point, and then they're going to tell you what they really feel. But this happened to me the other day. I'm talking to this dumb white guy at the post office, and he's giving me all these, I'm talking to him, and he's seeming like a nice guy. And as the conversation go on, then all of a sudden he says to me, "Well, blacks have the freedom to leave." And I said, "Yeah, you know what?" I said, "You would say that. You would want blacks to leave with nothing after you just stripped them of everything they had and separated them from it for 500 years. You would want them just to leave. But see, I see through your devil eyes. When a man want to make a point to his woman, he would tell her to leave knowing she has no place to go, knowing she has no money. Just because you know she can't go anywhere, you will say that. But you will never tell a person that, or you will never tell a woman that has her own money, that has her own support system, her own family, her mother, her father, who he know if this guy ever mistreats you, you can always come back home. He would never open up that door and dare you to leave. But see, as long as we don't create an alternative, as long as we don't create a support system, whites are going to always tell you to just leave, knowing you got nowhere to go, no system, nowhere to feed yourselves, nowhere to pay your bills. And then you're going to do what? You're going to sit there looking like a fool. And then you're going to crawl right back to them. But see, when blacks argue on behalf of whites, they're rooted mostly in fear, ignorance, or self-hate. They're they're contaminated. You know, you get a lot of blacks that somewhere in their history, their great grandfather, you know, was white, or their great grandmother was white, and that gives them some type of an affinity, and that will taint or curb their social perspective, as opposed to saying, yeah, let blacks build their own. You know, they're gonna, try to play somewhere in the middle, and we can't allow that. We just can't allow that. You know, and whenever you hear white people talk, have you ever heard any of them, a white person or white organization, ever tell blacks to just create your own way? You know, why don't you just build your own independent system? You know, you have, what's that, Jane Elliott. She's been notorious for going around telling everybody how whites are racist, how whites are this, that, but she never tell blacks to just build your own. She always want to, she said the one thing that had made me laugh, talking about some whites come from Africa. You know, we just faded over time. How? How is that possible that just a certain group of people from Africa, among all the dark people there, just a certain few of them, just decide to just fade their complexion over time? This is how stupid they think we are. They think we're just as stupid as they are, but I'm not. you know, um, uh, they just faded over time. You know, what do you think the reason for me doing these videos are? You know, do you think they're rooted in hate or love? Well, let me tell you, I hate the white people who enslaved our people, who raped and murdered them. But today I cannot. You know, we need to learn from the first time whites encountered our people until now. We've gotten the raw deal from them, and it comes a point in time where you got to stop hating white people and start learning how we can live outside of them. You know, we cannot go back to the beginning and change how we started, but we can start today and change how we end. My purpose is rooted in creating a way of life independent of whites. It's time we created businesses and institutions around our essential needs. You know, my because I know my story, my reason for doing these videos is to escape the little tricks and traps that this system have. They punish you for things for minutes. Like I got a ticket, and they had suspended my license one time. So once I found out my license was suspended, I went and paid the restitution fee to reinstate my license. So now once my license was suspended and I go to try to apply for a truck driving job, now they're telling me that the companies are telling me that because my license was suspended, I have to wait a year before I can get a job driving a truck. And I'm like, for what? And say, because your license was suspended. And I say, well, at the time, I didn't have that much money and I couldn't pay the ticket on time. So I paid the ticket, I paid the late fee, and I paid the reinstatement fee. Then I had to wait another year before I can, start driving a truck. I know my story is the same as thousands of other people. And if we were to be honest and open this format up, it would be hundreds of thousands of millions of people telling their version of the punishment that's far exceeded the crime. And my crime was paying a ticket late and to reinstate the to reinstate the license, $15. But I had to wait a whole year. So I could have made $60,000-$70,000 a year driving a truck. But now I'm stuck in a job paying me like $35,000 to $40,000 a year. So just because I was a few days late paying a ticket, it cost me almost $30,000 in salary. My reasons for doing these videos is rooted into my belief that if whites can create a way for us, we should be able to create a way for us. And I know if we created a way of living for us, it would be better than what's been created for us. My videos are rooted in solutions. I'm not here just to talk. I'm not here just to vent. I'm about solutions that our people can adopt and apply and then be the example that other black communities can duplicate. And then once we do that, then we can create our own network, our own system, and our own rules and laws, and have our own businesses and institutions to support them so we can live life the way we feel we should live it. Because if the current government is underserving our people, then establish another one. If the judicial system is over policing or over prosecuting our people, establish our own. If after 245 years, any talk of continuing doing the same thing we're doing and expecting something different in return, that is rooted in insanity. How many times have we protested, marched, went back? Protested, marched, went back. If we don't create an alternative, what's their motivation to stop doing whatever they're doing to force us to protest it in the first place? doing everything their way, we're still, like I say, we're still marching and protesting. Isn't it time that we start doing things our way? And as I said before, um, let's develop our own facilities to house our intellectual and cultural talent, manufacture our own goods and services, create our own brands, and then market them, and then let the people decide what they want. Because if we transferred our $1.3 trillion and took just a portion of it and invested it into ourselves, we can create miniature institutions and start funneling our money back into our communities, creating our own jobs, establishing our own economic floor. We should not have to be limited to living life equal to the lowest forms of life. What have whites ever done that will put them at a position where if we reach equality with them, that's as high as anybody can be. If you reach equality with whites, you are at the lowest form, the lowest level you could be at. These people create nothing. They are evil to the core, every last one of them. Why on earth would we inspire our children to want to be equal to something that we should be looking down upon? Let our thoughts be rooted in unifying our people, educating our people, caring for our people, and separating our people from these monsters. And then let that grow and see how we will be. Because if we continue doing what we're doing now, we won't have a people left to build. I'm going to end this video here. And if you like this message, please share it. And with this video, as with all my videos, it is for the complete separation of my people. And I'll see you in my next message. Ashe.